We are fresh, quickly removed, hot on the heels of a very eventful AEW Dynamite. We have literally not said anything about the show. We've been on here for about 30 seconds. Manny explained something about his technical his technical ups and downs, which we collected. We said that you sound good. Manny does sound good. You're about, look at him, he looks great. He looks like he's doing a show for the Ringer. We haven't talked about Dynamite, which I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was a pretty big show. I thought a lot happened. Chris, your internet is working tonight, pal. How are you this evening?
Surprisingly, right? Yeah, no, back home. So far, so good. We've gone more than we did last time without any, technical difficulties. So I'm feeling pretty good. Professional wrestling's back.
I've heard that. I must say there was, especially in the middle of that show, there was a moment for me where I got one of those weird like emotional buzz from like deals from wrestling where I was like, man, this shit's good. What would I do about this stuff? Especially during that particular match we'll get into because that was something else. Tope Suicida, if you get to get a camera, you're unprofessional as ever. Confirm she is very mad that you're on here again. But nonetheless, how are you this evening?
I mean, after that show, how could you not be fucking buzzing?
Well, I'm sure someone's managing it out there. Yeah, well, Manny's,
that's fair. That's fair.
Manny's enraged. He's about to throw his hat down on the floor again.
I got a double whammy.
They split too, right?
Yeah, they split too just to shit on me too.
Okay, let's get the nicest way. Manny, firstly, how are you? All jokes aside, how are you this evening, pal?
I'm very great right now.
Okay, look at this. So, the thing I want to talk about most is Garcia Danielson. That doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about other stuff, but that's what I want to ask. Just a quick question, because I don't want to be an arsehole here. Did you guys think there was some like slightly weird ingredients involved in that main event, or did I like imagine there was some I don't know if it was just the way Kenny was dressed and I was like adjusting to it, but there was something that was weird about it to me. Like I felt like an angle was about to happen. I guess it did in Dragon Lee being turned on, but I don't know. Chris? Am I nuts for feeling like there was something that made me on red alert during that main event? It didn't feel like a triumphant welcome as much as it felt like they were clearly telling a story, which we'll get into. But what did you think of the vibe there for the last 25 minutes or so, Chris?
Right. So I agree 100%. And to me, I'll tell you what it is. You know how we talk about this all the time, and I see it on Twitter all the time. Whenever we see, Danielson take a bump that has to do with his neck or his head or whatever, we all kind of get like all nervous about it. I felt that the entire match. Now, whether or not that was him, like, selling or whatever, I don't know what it was, but to me, I was like, anytime he'd land, I'd be like, oh no. Anytime he'd land on his shoulders, when the brace looking thing kind of came unattached, I was like, oh no. So, I mean, I don't know. And he kind of had that moment, obviously, like he played it up. It seemed he played it up a little bit when he was going to do the, his spot with the rope. But I don't know. That's what it was to me. Even, my dad couldn't watch, but he's on a business trip. He texted me, he goes, Kenny's wearing a shirt. And I was like, I know.
I said to shoot, I was like, I'm 99% certain that he's working because I feel like if Kenny was going to just wrestle in the shirt for the rest of his career, he'd absolutely gimmick it and make it look like really cool, and he wouldn't just wear a compressed. So I think he's trying to concern everyone. I guess and this is not a criticism, this is a commentary on my own viewing of it, and probably yours, Chris, too, you can co-sign this. I kind of got myself in this like mindset of like this sort of triumphant return, and it was that, but he was trying to tell a story more, which will pay off in the coming weeks. So we'll get into all of that, more over the next hour and change. Tope, immediate reaction to the last quarter of the pay-per-view, pal.
Pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Well,
I paid for all of it as Fight TV.
I agree with you. There was a little bit off, but I definitely think that it's Omega and the Bucks doing their storytelling. There was like the moment that he kind of oversold the knee, kind of like because like the first couple times he did it was done well enough that like there was that seed of doubt, like shit, this might be real, and then like after that it was like, at least to me, it was kind of clear that he was definitely trying to tell the story. If you want to say, like, I agree he should have had kind of a more triumphant return, but I also loved the match for the most part.
Yeah.
So I can't complain.
I honestly, man, I wouldn't even say he should have. Like, I kind of pulled that punch because it's more what I expected, which is, that isn't a critique of what he did, right? It's just more on me for the way I watched it. Manny, am I imagining it, or did Dragon Lee get knocked the fuck out on that V-trigger? Because he appeared to be gone. And in that match, Kenny just fucking picked him up to do his thing. I'm hitting my finish tonight, bro. I ain't hitting a year. Did you think the same thing, Manny, or did I imagine that shit?
Yeah, the match is a blur after that Dragon Lee Tope. After he did that, I was like, man, the match is over.
I can't believe Kenny did that shit in his first match back, bro. Can you believe that? My God.
Yeah, I looked at Kenny. I said, okay, so I would rather the match be like a straight up, awesome match, without the whole storyline thing, because I don't know, I felt like they just played it up instead of having like a great match, but that's whatever. But man, that match was just so awesome with the Tope, and then with that one-winged angel, and then I don't know what happened at the end of the match.
Dragon Lee, I think he knocked him the fuck out with that V-trigger, brother.
But even with the
the angle,
I feel like the whole show was rushed though. After around the Jungle Boy stuff, I felt that's the thing. Like, why do you plan like all these big matches and then just like add more stuff, and then you have to rush through the whole show?
The thing is that the main event had time. It was just they got to the finish so like that to rush the angle. I think the angle would have come off better if Dragon Lee was not
concussed,
violently concussed. Yeah, would be my assumption. His mask literally just fell off, and he had no it was quite the scene.
But I don't think that's the end of Dragon Lee, because there's no way they did that. And
well, you thought they were going to win tonight, Manny. So wherever helps you this evening, mate. No, it's not the end. Of course, I think he's going to bring a babyface run of some kind, I would assume. This is the thing.
Twitter too.
Talking about weird vibes. Don Callis been out there and JR like just kicking the shit out of him immediately was so funny. He was just yelling at him. Like it was hilarious. Like this, everyone's trying for Kenny, and JR was like, "Shut that piece of shit up."
It was funny because JR was kind of weird all night, and if you like hear him, like everybody was putting over King, and then you just hear him. She's 6'1". She's 6'1". Like she has any control over her height. She's 6'1".
So to be clear, this is right. They did loosen the mask, but I think Dragon Lee's reaction to it appeared to me that he may or may not have like fully woke up when he was DDT'd, because he had this weird like reaction that seemed somewhat jarring. But I don't know. I have no clue. Lucha Blog just tweeted suggesting that AEW didn't know they were going to do that. There's no way. If they did that, they're the best wrestlers in the world. Major respect.
The thing with Lucha Blog is I feel like he has like PTSD because of all the horrors that those three guys did to him in CMLL.
Well, that's fair. I'm going to leave that there and move on. Let's talk about this CM Punk, John Moxley business. I'm going to use the phrase un-AEW, the way they kind of strung through the show. A huge announcement close. This started with piece one of it, the opening segment. Punk was in a different mood tonight, Chris. He came out and he was swinging for the fences. What did you think of Punk's opening promo and then Mox's response in that first segment?
So the Hangman thing caught me off guard. Obviously we're all expecting the Mox confrontation to an extent. So the Hangman thing, I'm not sure what that was about, but we'll see. I'm sure everything there kind of seems like it's for a reason when it comes to that type of stuff. So we'll see what happens there later. But man, he was not playing around. he was going. And man, I love. I said it last time. I mean, I don't know if anyone heard when I said it because issues. But I really wanted them to lean into heel Punk, and I think he leaned into it a little bit. And he said he said? He was like, "You can boo me, but tell me when I'm lying," type of thing. Which was that's what I've been wanting to see. So I love that he leaned into that, and I love the way they, like you said, they strung it through the show. It felt super important. And not that we, I didn't expect the announcement. I don't think anybody expected the announcement for next week, but it was, it feels like big fight feel.
Absolutely. It was interesting. Punk, talk about leaning into being a heel. I mean, he goes out there and ultimately tears apart John Moxley, Hangman Page, and Eddie Kingston, who you could very reasonably argue are the three top babyfaces in the whole promotion. And after a couple of boos, the crowd just sort of went, well, CM Punk, CM. I mean, that speaks to how popular he is. It was quite the promo. Tope, your reaction to the opening segment?
I'm convinced that Phil Brooks somehow hacked my Twitter DMs, saw every wrestler above him on my favorite wrestler list, and just decided to just dunk on them viciously.
Hold up. Rewind for a second. How often are you DMing folks just lists of your favorite wrestlers? Is that something you do? Is that something you try? Like, did someone ask, or do you just kind of do it unsolicited? How does that work?
Oh, I just send it to random people, like 3 times a week.
How many times have you sent it to Bob?
Probably like 12.
Bob does that to me, actually. She sends me a picture of Bob Holly and stuff, like another fave, that kind of deal. It's good stuff. Manny, I know you're not an angle guy, but this must have even broke that rule for you. This was something else, this opening segment, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can be the heart and soul. I'll be the dollar and the cents. That was so awesome.
After the belt,
after he said that, I said, Moxie, just go home. There's like nothing you can do now. There's like
it's good shit.
Yeah, Punk just rules, and I like how he set up the match. He set up a match against Hangman, and then he set up a match between Moxley and Kingston that we're never getting now, I guess. And made me just sad.
Eddie's gonna beat him for that belt. The set was gonna happen, right? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that's a thing that's gonna happen. Like, remember when he was building to the Hangman match and he just randomly took a shot at Eddie Kingston? Like, remember he did that promo? He walked around the ring and he was like, "The only guy I hate in this approach is Eddie." He said that something like that about Eddie Kingston. I think that's where they're going.
Did you see Kingston's tweet?
I did. It's pretty. Don't think you put that one on TV, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was a good tweet. Quick shout out here, a little bit of housekeeping. My good friend Tank has followed. Sam is cheer 100 bits, and E-Town DPT has subscribed with Prime. Thank you very much, pal. We hope you enjoy the grins.
I want to know what Tony Khan's cooking, man. He made that CM Punk versus Moxley match. I'm just like,
he's up to something, bro. He's up to no good.
Yeah. Like there's something bigger there, I'm sure.
Next week is insane. You got CM Punk, Moxley, Dax Harwood versus Lethal, and then you got
the main, bro. The main's fucking ridiculous. Let's be real.
And you got United Empire versus Death Triangle.
Tremendous. But Chad's talking about MJF, and that feels like it's on the top. I think the least interesting route is they just do like the all-out formula of last year, and they have Moxley win this one, and then Punk gets in. But the way that Kenny and Christian traded, that's the least interesting because it feels so nuts that you want there to be like something weird that happens here, right? I don't know. It's tough.
Maybe the hint, when Punk said that he wants somebody to come out to challenge him.
Yeah.
What if we get that next week?
Yeah, I don't know, but it almost. Like
but then
like
I'm wondering,
Punk. How can you have a bigger match than that, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering who's bigger. Like if it's MJF, then I feel like MJ would have to win. So it's just weird. Is it Kingston? Because I feel like Punk and Kingston. No, because
Kingston's working Sammy though.
Oh, that's right, man.
I don't know, Chris. What you got on this one, mate? What do you think we're going here?
So yeah, like I had the thoughts of MJF. I didn't want to be the one to bring it up because of last week's conversation, but I had the thoughts. I was like, oh, like something's up here, and that could be it. Especially the way the last time we saw him, how kind of like hot that angle was for a long time. I just don't know. It's tough. Like, what does that look like? But then again, I mean, I didn't expect Tony to string that angle kind of throughout the show like he did, and then announce it that way. But I mean, yeah, like I could see that. Now, what the next step is from there, I don't know. But I'm just really curious to see what the plan is for next week, like how they end up. Because I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it seems too reminiscent of the build from last year.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like. But yeah, I mean, that's a possibility for sure.
It's hard because there are matches we can all pitch, right? There are alternate matches. You could do, Punk versus Hangman. You could do Punk versus Eddie, as we just talked about. You could do Punk versus, even Paul says, Tanahashi. But I struggle to believe that Tony Khan would say, yeah, that's the one that should be the pay-per-view main event, not Moxley and Punk, which is like the biggest match you could possibly book. Tope, do you have any answer here? This is a strange deal, isn't it? I mean, it's exciting, but it's just bizarre. What do you think, Tope?
I mean, if Punk can go, I could totally see it going to 60. I have my concerns with that. I could also, I mean, personally, I'm rooting that Kingston comes out and just kicks him in the dick, but I don't know if that's necessarily the the best option to build. But I'd be surprised if Punk Moxley still wasn't on the pay-per-view. Like, I feel like this is gonna either be more of an angle or be like a 60-minute draw type deal.
I agree. I think this has still got to be the match. It's just like, why would you book it on TV first unless you have something you have to have something particular planned, right? I would think it's fair to assume, and assuming is always a dangerous game, but I feel in this case it's safe to guess this is not a case of let's book the match and figure it out next week. This has been booked with like a clear intent of they're going to do something next week, whatever that may be. Maybe it is the 60-minute draw that Tope referred to. I'm torn on that because as great as the match would be, promoting a pay-per-view match by having two guys wrestle for an hour on TV is kind of bizarre, right? And it's kind of strange. I don't know, lads. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and critique it because we haven't seen what they're going to do with it, right? But I think we can all agree our reaction to the graphic was, "What the fuck are they doing? That's insane!" It was bizarre. So we'll cover this in the coming days and weeks. It's quite the deal. I want to talk about Danielson and Garcia. I think this is one of the best matches AEW's ever done. I really believe that. It's one of the best TV matches I've ever seen, legitimately. I couldn't believe how good it was. I need to tell all of you guys this with I very seldom would do it this emphatically. You all need to watch the Fight TV feed for this match. I would argue some of the match's best moments come in the Fight TV feed. At one point, they began to trade strikes like it was a boxing match, or a kickboxing match, I should say. And Garcia did a knockout sell on a slap, and it was amazing. The crowd was red hot. It was a masterpiece. Tope, I'll go to you first on this. Your reaction to Garcia and Danielson in a Dynamite classic.
Yeah, I tweeted out that I have to go back and watch the Fight TV version, but that's one of my favorite matches of all time. Even with the commercials for me. The one that annoyed me is there was one not picture-in-picture, and I think Garcia went crazy according to Twitter on that, so I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I mean, this was more like an MMA fight than a wrestling match, but it still had it gripped you like an amazing wrestling match. So it was the best blend of the two styles that I've ever seen, pretty much.
It was, I get what you mean, because they definitely started with very authentic mat wrestling, right? It wasn't sequency or play wrestling. It was they were really going hold for hold. But there was a lot of classical wrestling in there that I'm sure popped Ricky the Dragon quite a bit. I mean, some of the stuff when they were trading chops and the fire they were wrestling with. I don't know, man. The best wrestling is really hard to describe and explain. But I think we all felt it tonight. Everyone in the chat, everyone on the show. It just had an intensity, and everything they did, they took it so seriously. It was just packed with drama and emotion. It was an incredible match. Manny, what did you think of Garcia and Danielson?
The first sequence into the first pin from Garcia was awesome. He got him into the power driver, and then he got him to that weird looking submission. That was some beautiful stuff right there. And the thing that really bothered me was just the commercials. I was so annoyed because I'm just looking at Twitter and everybody's like, "Oh, this is happening. This is happening." Like Danielson's bleeding. I'm like, what's going on? I can't watch anything. I'm just like, it's so annoying. I feel like this is the kind of match that Tony should upload as soon as Dynamite is over. Upload on YouTube.
Yeah.
So everybody can watch.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it on the Grin last week. I think that should be more of a thing in general, right? I mean, the uploading on YouTube is a great way to kind of sample the product for people. So that'd be something I would genuinely recommend in general. But yeah, it was. I genuinely can't overstate how much you guys need to see the stuff that in the ad breaks, because the one that you guys missed was when he did the DDT on the concrete, which is they showed it, but you want to see that in real time, not on a replay, because when he did it, what happened was Danielson's sweat hit the floor. So when he rolled over, there was just a big fucking mark on the ground, and Jim Ross screamed, "Did his brain splatter?" And I was like, "Oh my god, this is the best match ever!" I was in awe of that shit. Chris, what do you think of Garcia and Danielson?
Yeah, no, I mean, only complaint was the commercials, and especially that one, right, where they I was thinking when they go into it, I see that there's no picture-in-picture, and I'm like, okay, hopefully they kind of, this is where they slow it down a little bit, and then we come right back and they show, here's what you missed. And it's Garcia giving a DDT outside, uncovered concrete, and I'm just, that was tough. But man, like I love that. That's a classic Dynamite match for me. And man, I like in a Bryan match, there's nothing. I was there for Suzuki and Danielson when they came to Miami and they had that on the pre-show, and just like, man, when Danielson does those forearm exchanges, there's nothing like that. Like there's nothing like that. So when I saw in the picture-in-picture that they were kind of had that, not forearm exchange necessarily, but they were on their knees doing those exchanges. You kind of see the crowd get up and like making noise. I have to go rewatch it because like that, I'm sure that moment itself was crazy to watch. I'm kind of bummed we missed out on that. But yeah, man, like I think I tweeted out, it felt like two like clones trying to get the best of each other for the beginning of it, and it was just incredible. It's a classic.
Especially the moment late when Garcia began to like literally do Bryan's offense, like he did like the knee and man, it was great. And
if I can add that, like last week, it's perfect. They talked about like Bryan was like, yeah, if you're really my biggest fan, like so they kind of had already built that up, and he just starts doing his offense. Right, so it's just the little things like that man, like it was special. It was special.
I can't wait to rewatch it because I'm very confident just on first watch there was a lot of stuff we all kind of missed, because I can tell by the way it was wrestled that while they were in there, just because some of the mat wrestling stuff, it struck me that they were just literally just wrestling, which is why it looked so good. But there were a couple things throughout the match where I got the sense there was a lot of thought put into the idea of the match, which was what you just laid out, which is this core idea of ultimately, beyond all the other bullshit and all the feuding and everything else, it's a guy trying to prove to his hero that he can, that he belongs with him. Which we'll get to the post match. We'll go back to in a second, because the post match, it can't be like understated how great that was. It was very, very effective. But
I have an update on the trios post match.
Okay,
I guess it was an angle. They're gonna show it on Rampage.
Yeah. That sucks. I want it to be a shoot now. Do you know how nuts that would be if that was a shoot?
What does Tony say when they get to the bat?
I think he forgives them after that dive.
Next time, try not to do it to a wrestler who's been violently knocked unconscious. If you're gonna shoot your own angle, at least make it safe.
Did you see that dive where I just like on the replays, there was kids where they did the dive. Like that's where
right.
I was like, I said that fucking rules. I said
it's pro wrestling, brother.
I wish that Sammy did that crazy RVD flip thing during like these arenas. And so awesome. Imagine him taking out some fans.
That would be so awesome. Imagine him taking out some fans. There you go. It was man, I'm kind of I'm struggling for words on the main event, the opener. What ridiculous phrasing for that, but I just so good, man. I couldn't believe it.
I wish I could say more about the match, man. I was just so taken out after like the first like pay-per-view where it went completely black. Like we're just watching picture in picture. After that, I was just like taken out of the whole match. I was like, I guess I'm just gonna have to watch it on Watch Wrestling like at 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, it'll be worth it. I promise. Absolutely.
I just like how also like Garcia just showed a different kind of aggression that we haven't seen before from him.
He's an animal.
And
he's an animal, Manny.
A demon.
He is.
He's a demon.
No, like
we don't say demon around here. Don't say demon. It's banned. Carry on, Manny.
And then like it's so crazy how Garcia got over and losing, and they were just chanting. They were saying that he's a wrestler. Yeah. And you know how awesome that is? Like that wouldn't happen anywhere else. Like AEW is just such a weird wrestling show. Like in like history of US wrestling.
It is very unique, yeah. It really is like it's like that the example I often use, the mid-2010s, you had New Japan was becoming popular in the States. And PWG and Ring of Honor were doing like their own nerdy wrestling. It's like them all combined on steroids. It's like this crazy. It's like a wrestling festival every week. It's fucking nuts, man. Like,
yeah, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be like that. Compare AEW to WWE, but I'm gonna do it, bro. How can you even compare like both these shows? Like
they would never split up a new trio like that.
Besides that,
the crowd is such a big advantage for them.
But like, imagine getting like these kind of matches on Raw and SmackDown. It's just like its own mess. But
right,
but like there's like nothing like it.
There's a Rampage spoiler that's out there, boys. That is it's kind of shit that you feel when you think about it whole life. You know what I mean? There's an angle that's shot on Friday. It's the kind of shit that you dream about.
I wasn't gonna watch Rampage, but then I saw that Claudio graphic pop up, and I was like, I haven't seen the spoiler, but I don't know. Is that what it is?
It's who's gonna wrestle Claudio. I mean, I could just spoil it, but I want to let people pop.
Okay,
it, you know?
I don't know who it is. As soon as I saw his graphic pop up, I just started rubbing. I literally started rubbing my hands. I was just like, oh. Yeah.
It's a good time. It's gonna be a good time. Seriously. I don't want it to I want people to pop for his music and shit. So, anyway, let's go to that post match angle. Tope, how nuts is it? How well that shit worked? Like they fucking actually chanted, "You're a wrestler" to Garcia. What a hit that was! Thoughts on the post match and just kind of whole package this came in. It was a hell of a deal.
It was absolutely fantastic. Like chef's kiss. I don't know how you could have improved that angle because you didn't do the full turn, so you leave a little like meat on the bone. You can continue the storyline. I have to assume that Jericho and Danielson is still the pay-per-view match, and if they make it for custody of Daniel Garcia, I will pop so huge.
Yeah. That'd be something. That would be interesting.
Good. Well, my question is is there a group of guys that have helped elevate the younger talent in such a short time better than the Blackpool Combat Club? Because you have Wheeler getting insanely over, and now you have Garcia. So I don't know anyone else that would compare recently.
I almost wonder if I was watching this thinking, I think Danielson's Jericho's the match, and I think what you said will be like the kind of story of the match, like which side is Garcia on. There was a part of me for a minute that thought they were just going to do like Danielson and Garcia versus Jericho and I don't know, the big lad. I guess it would have to be, right? Because for a minute I thought Garcia was just going to hit Jericho. I mean, it felt alive, man. It was fucking great. It was electric, incredible deal.
You think they can do you think Tony? I don't know if crazy enough to do it, where they do the 4 Horsemen angle where it's Sting, and they do that with Garcia. Like Jericho has his
oh my god! Wait, hang on. They have him turn on Garcia from within because he fought back at Jericho.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Manny, spoilers. We haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Horseman angle? No.
I was like, wait, they spoiled it.
That wasn't the Rampage spoiler, no. Folks, I did not shoot a 4 Horseman angle on Rampage. It's not what happened, to be clear. Chris, anything else on the Garcia Danielson business, which stole the show? It was amazing.
Just shout out to the crowd, man. They were in it the entire time to the post-match. That's what really, obviously, the atmosphere, that's what made the end special, kind of. All the chants to Garcia, they're chanting his name, saying, "You're a wrestler." It just felt like it was a living thing that I don't even know how to explain it. It was awesome. It was, that's just peak wrestling, man.
Yes.
I felt something there. It was big.
It's kind of wrestling that genuinely is timeless because it's so simple. You can understand that story at any point. And the way it was wrestled, I agree with Toby. There was definitely a lot of the shoot style influence early on with the mat wrestling stuff. But the idea of the match, the way it was wrestled, was timeless, and it was unbelievable. I mean, it's honestly boring talking about how good Danielson is because it's what is there left to say?
Yeah.
But he's just ridiculous. Honestly, seriously, guys. You're talking about a guy who's probably the best mat wrestler, most technically gifted guy that we've ever seen in wrestling. And I would argue at this point he's most compelling when he's wrestling on emotion. And he's wrestling with these stories to tell. I mean, look at the way he told this story of him fighting back and trying to keep his career alive, and the desperation he showed, and the passion he showed. He's a freak of nature, man. I don't know how he does it. He's the best I've ever seen. He's unbelievable. And listen, Garcia is something else. You know what Garcia is, lads? He's generational.
Yeah.
Let's lock it in.
Did he for you guys separate himself from the pack?
I think he's been. I think this match for sure just made him
he's far ahead of Yuta, Moriarty.
I'm already there, bro. I honestly think he's fucking like out of this world good. I think it's ridiculous. He's 23, bro.
And then another question is, at what point is it too many top guys in one faction? If you have if Daniel Garcia is in the BCC, and then they hinted at they were hinting at Takeshita being the BCC. Like, at what point is it like you're like, okay, we can't keep putting all the best guys in one faction?
Yeah, I'm with you. I absolutely agree. What do you think about that, Chris? Where do you stand on, like, is there a point where it's almost too much of a good thing? Like, if you had Garcia and then maybe a Takeshita, it's like, good Lord, it's like an all-star team. What do you think?
Right. So, like, last month, I kind of convinced myself that Yuta and Garcia, like, that's going to be, for their whole careers. And I still do think that, like, their whole careers, that's going to be, that rivalry. Right. And then today, I was kind of like, when they had that post-match angle, I was like, well, like, they can team for a little bit, right? And then kind of build something out of that. Man, but yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like, Garcia separated himself from the pack. Like, he's not going to be the guy anymore that's like, he's in a group and when they're in a feud, he takes a pin or something to a top. Like, he's a guy. Like, he's a player, right? So, man, like, it was special. And just the way that the crowd reacts to Yuta and to Garcia, and especially Garcia tonight, is like, that's the AEW crowd. Like, that's their base. And that's great. Like, that's just, I'm so glad that we've gone to a point, especially in this product, in wrestling, like, that's a thing, right? Like, you appreciate the fact that the young guys, like, this is the future, and don't even worry about the fact that they're the future. Like, right now, they're having these banger classic matches on free TV, right? Like, we can all appreciate that. And that's just, it's so special to watch. And he definitely separated himself today.
I agree totally.
I just came up with the idea. What if Claudio and Yuta are just going to be the ROH BCC, and then you're going to have Moxley, Garcia, and Danielson as the AEW BCC?
I think they want both guys to have a presence on AEW too, which makes it hard. My honest pitch, what I would actually do is, I think I would have Garcia join the group, but the angle I would run is Regal says to Yuta and Garcia that to become great wrestlers, they have to show they can team up. Like, to show a maturity to team up with someone you once deemed a rival, bring out that competition and become a team. Because I'm honestly, a babyface tag team of Yuta and Garcia, like, do you know how fucking good those matches would be? Like, it would be outrageous, dude.
So it's like the Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle kind of thing.
Benny.
Kurt Angle and the other guys, what we say, right? You know that, Manny. You know the show. If you're gonna say Benny and you move on, all right? But you said the full name, that's problematic, all right? But yes, that's the idea. But you wouldn't do it in a, like, can they coexist? You'd do it in, like, a coach trying to get two guys to, to evolve, to mature, to adapt, so on and so forth. I think it could be really good in Regal's hands, but we shall see. Tope, where do you stand on Garcia potentially joining the group full time?
I mean, I don't know if this would work in wrestling, but if they did like a Kobe Shaq type deal, where they team up, and when they team up, they are incredible, but there's that little competitiveness or wanting to be the guy that eventually drives them apart and makes them the long-term rivals, like Chris said.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's safe to say that. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Swerve's listening right now and probably just got really mad about you doing the Shaq Kobe bit, which is how he's actively established on TV, but, you get what you get, I suppose, right? It's fine. I mean, in fairness, their thing doesn't really relate at all to Shaq and Kobe anymore because they're just a babyface tag team. But, I thought it was worth mentioning. It's a thing that's been on to, but you're right. Absolutely.
Swerve just wanted to be Kobe.
He did. Yeah, he did. Which is, I mean, there's a lot of layers to them being Shaq and Kobe. The fact that Keith Lee is probably like 6'1", fucking rules. But
big man.
You get what you get. Yeah, well, look, he's certainly a big man. God bless him. That match on Friday should be a good time. I hope Pro Party delivering that because I didn't love their last Rampage main event, but I'm pretty confident on this one. Danielson Garcia, again, I think it's pretty clear that all of us are a little bit, what do you say, man? What's left to say? It's ridiculous. Someone's got to stop Danielson. It ain't fair. There's going to be a time, I'm telling you all this now, there's going to be a time in many, many years when Chris is High Chancellor of Wrestle Purists, Manny is on the ringer, Tope Suicida is on Discord or whatever he's doing. And are we long gone? And everyone will be saying, he wasn't real, that Danielson. And you'll get Chris and Manny go, he was real. It happened. He's a real wrestler. They're going to say they made it up, this cage match shit. It probably won't be 20, it's probably more like 40, I guess. But you fellas are young enough, that could happen. I'm telling you, he's an alien. It's fucking insane. He just, every match he has is great, but in different ways.
Has anybody ever had a run like him?
No.
For being, I was about to say,
he's the American Dragon. What do we do with him? We need to ban him. He should be in his own league. I think we should start doing science experiments. I think we should start finding the worst wrestlers on earth and having Bryan Danielson wrestle them and see what happens. Do it in a studio. This could be a reality show. Can Dragon carry? And you load in fucking Jonah or wherever and see how he gets out of it. Not Jonah, that's unfair. I'm sorry, I'm lashing out.
We know the answer. We know. TK books Pillman versus Bryan next week. All right, baby.
Well, I'm telling you, this is not false. I saw that fucker wrestle Aaron Solo at Universal Studios, and I went like 3 3/4 on that shit. It was an off day. Do you know what I mean? It was, let's just stop through Universal and let's have a banger with Aaron Solo. He's outrageous. He's an animal.
No, Red Sox. We're not going to do that match, all right?
Yeah, that's not going away. He's incredible. Seriously. There's a lot of great wrestlers, but Bryan Danielson is like in his own world. And I mean that in the most glowing way to everyone else. It's not an insult to them, it's a compliment to Bryan. Anyway, can we talk about how funny that Varsity Blondes deal was first?
Why... I'm speechless. I just Tony Khan.
He had you stuck there. What was he saying? What happened?
I was getting PTSD from last week.
Tony Khan, man. He does not want to pin Pillman. He just keeps pinning Griff. I'm just like, what's going on? Like, the guy that has a better upside is Griff.
Bro.
You just keep beating him like a dog.
Manny, there is no way that you have watched that babyface team get pinned in 30 seconds clean and gone, why'd they pin him? They're both dead, bro. It's over.
That's exactly what
right.
I thought. I was just like, Griff, man. Griff.
Mini Chris Hero pinned again on national TV. It's a disgrace.
I was stumped. You saw how I stuttered? Like, I froze. Just like my brain couldn't.
Pillman didn't even tape up his fucking wrists. He said, we're doing a flat job. No need. You know what I mean?
He's like, no need to waste this tape. It's like, hey, man, tape's expensive out there.
They are the first act that has like clearly burned any faith Tony. Like, cause Tony pushed them at one point. That was like a thing he did on TV.
They were in the Eliminator tournament last year, I think.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They wrestled Lucha Bros, and there was that really funny spot where, when Penta does the thing where he does like a forward roll and then like a cutter, or Phoenix does it. Whoever, and Pillman did that thing where he had his head out like this, waiting to get a cut because he's fucking terrible. Shoot and I popped huge at that because like before the show we were saying we thought he was getting better. Liars. He's bad.
I think the best piece of art on this show was Tony Nese coming out and then getting run over by Moxley. I promise you, I saw Tony Nese come out and sitting in my chair. I was just like, "You gotta be shitting me, man! I'm not gonna get this trios match. Is not good. All this time is like."
You spent so much of this show sweating bullets about how much time that trios match would get.
I kept looking at my phone. Oh man, it's 8:10. It's 8:10, man. We still got the women's match, and Tony Nese is coming out. I'm just like, oh, man,
all for them to make you mad by doing storytelling in the main event. Anyway, amazing, great performance.
And then for Dragon Lee getting his mask ripped off, and I'm just like, my God, why do you even watch the show?
You thought they were going to be trios champs, bro, right? They just didn't work out. Is what it is. Tope, any thoughts on the Arse Boys business and the death of the Varsity Blondes and the Acclaim being involved and that whole deal? I thought the actual angle was pretty damn fun. What do you think of that whole deal?
CM Punk name dropping Brian Pillman Jr. was like by far the best thing to happen in that kid's career. And then CM Punk actually watching a Brian Pillman Jr. match was by far the worst thing to happen in his career.
Yeah, Tony, CM Punk watched Grand Slam and was like, I don't know about this kid anymore, and just it was a lost cause.
I would like to know which wrestler was the first one that said it to him. I think it was Dax, personally. Like, kind of went up to him and went, he's terrible, right? And Punk was like, no. I watched Nitro last week. Pillman ruled, he looks like him. I think it was Dax. That's my current guess.
And Dax wrestled him like 3 times already, right? He wrestled him twice on the Indies.
Yeah, that felt like maybe he thinks he's good. Maybe he is good. No, that's not true.
He's trying to, tune him up for CM Punk. He's trying to make sure he's good.
I will say, did you see him on the Flair show? No. As a heel, slight improvement, Manny. That's all I'm saying. Chris, what do you think of this business with the Gun Club, the Acclaimed, Billy, so on and so forth?
So yeah, like I think that was the post match was really fun. It was especially like you could tell with the crowd, like it was just a really fun moment there. And I think it's the right way to go, honestly. Like, I mean, the Stoke thing kind of like I know that they've been building that. That's still like I'll let it play out type thing. But no, it was fun. I had the same 100% reaction as Manny, like when the pin happened. I was like, it couldn't be coming. Like even if it was like 30 seconds, it was still my reaction. Like,
wow.
But still, like I remember Tope kind of in the chat, he's like, I'm almost 100% coming on, but Pillman's coming out still, so we'll see. And I was like, after that, there was nothing. So I knew he was coming on. But man, like it wasn't as much of a hindrance as I thought it was going to be. I'll say that. Like it was fun. Yeah. The way they ended it was fun.
It was like the best version of this possible.
Right.
Because there was no real match, but there was a fun angle the crowd liked. You can't really argue with it. I like Toni Storm and Kylan King quite a bit. Kylan King has really got something, and he's unique in terms of like her physicality. I would also say, and I've talked about this before with her some of her performances on Dark and such. I think Toni Storm has actually been like quietly impressive in ring. Again, you guys know I have some concerns about the other stuff at times, and part of that is because I think she can be a bigger deal than she is. She's about to be the world's champ, I think, so we're going to see what she can do in that role. But I liked her performance tonight. I thought the match was actually really good. Tope, what did you think of Toni and Kylan here on TV?
Yeah, I liked it. Like you said, I feel like Toni is. I didn't see much of her in WWE, but like she's definitely a big improvement to who has been featured in the division in the past year or so. I am not as convinced as you guys that she's going to win the title, but I could definitely see it. Like I'm just more like probably like 60-40-ish as opposed to being a little more confident.
I don't think she loses 3 times the title match. She's had 3 title matches, right?
Well, look at Ruby.
2, right? 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's different levels to this.
Tony's wrestled twice for the belt. Right? this is her second one, right? There's not 3, is there?
I think it's 2.
It's 2 because she lost to Brittany Owen, is what you're thinking of, man.
Right. Oh. And it was just Forbidden Door, right?
Yeah, just Forbidden Door. Yeah, unless there was a multi-person, there may have been. I don't know, but I think it's just second. I
think Tony's packing her up.
You're pretty spiteful when it comes to Thunder Rosa, though. There's like an edge to you. Thunder Rosa and Orange Cassidy, you get kind of aggressive. It's a little much, you know. Just need to take it easy, man. It's no big deal. She had a hat on. Did Jim Ross said, "Nice hat." That's what he said, man.
I have a cowboy hat around here somewhere.
There you go. JR would like that hat too, you know. That's a good visual bit for the future, Manny. But anyway, Chris, what do you think of Toni and Kylan King?
Yeah, so I was kind of looking at the clock there for a little bit, being like, okay, I think the trios match will be fine. You know, I think they'll get some time. Same thought there, but no, man, like it impressed me a lot more than it was going to. I was a little like, I think Kylan King's pretty good. At first, I was skeptical that she was the one to put in this spot, but man, like they over delivered by a bit here. And no, yeah, I agree. Toni Storm's been really impressive. Like Tope said, I wasn't super familiar with her work in WWE, but man, like that hip attack that she does is crazy. Every time she hits it, I'm like, no, that's it. Like she's out. It's over.
Did you hear the name for it?
Oh yeah, it was Shawn Michaels.
Sweet Cheeks music. Tony Schiavone said that shit on TV. I was like, oh my god.
You could like picture the grin on their faces when they said it too. Like it was
man.
You know, Schiavone was giving everybody high fives that he came up with that like on the spot or something.
Right,
exactly. Because you could tell though what happened was the way that he delivered it was like someone had like done the old WWE thing, like, you know when they used to go, he calls that's the way he did it, bro. Like when she did the taunt, he was like, here we go. Like he was ready to go. He had his nose
Was
up.
it because she was just like Shawn Michaels? Because she has that like zebra print like he used to have.
No, well, that'd be unfortunate. It was just a one-off. No, I mean, we've got this every week. It fucking rules. Carry on, Chris. I apologize. I cut you off.
It was good though, man. Like that move specifically. I remember she hit Britt with it one time, and I was like, "Nah, she's out. Like that's it. There's nothing there." Like, but man, no, it was good. Again, like I agree with Tope. I'm not 100% sold that like she's getting the title, but after tonight, I'm like, yeah, I'm 60-40. I really do think that that's the right move. To like at this time, like same way I thought Thunder Rosa was the right move at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a smooth transition to a new reign.
The question is, I don't think either thing happens without someone turning. So, do we get a Toni Storm title win as a babyface, and then Rosa turns in response? Does Rosa turn to keep her belt, or does Toni turn to win the belt? I know that was a lot of turning back and forth there, but Tope, it feels like something's got to give on that front, right? It feels like if we're going to do a title change or anything we do here, they're not going to just do a babyface match again. Something's up, I feel, Tope. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I feel like with the Statlander injury, things could have been changed because I could definitely see Toni winning the title, Rosa turning on Toni, Hayter then turning on Britt. Again, a lot of turns, but then having Toni Hayter. But I guess you would have to keep Hayter a heel to make that matchup work. Yeah. But now I think Hayter's going to get that Statlander spot and maybe the one to beat Jade eventually. I'm not sure, though.
It's difficult because I think my current prediction is Toni will win a babyface match and then Rose will turn in the post because I don't think you can reasonably turn Toni without the crowd getting me like, yeah, well, she has a point. I mean, Rose was kind of a dick last week, right? We'll talk about it some other time. Like, all right, fine. I don't know. It feels like Rose is the one to turn, but I just don't really know how you do that while having Toni win the belt unless, to your wider point, unless that's not what's happening and maybe we're building someone else winning the belt. We should that'd be a little tough on Toni. But Manny, any read on where the World Women's title is headed in the coming months?
No, not really.
Did you pop for Kylan King tonight? Very tall.
I popped for she's 6'1".
Yeah, 6'1".
I popped for that reverse crossbody.
It's good, bro. Seriously, it was good. I know you were sweating bullets the whole time because of the trios match. Because you were scared about, a couple less dives being fitted into the 30-minute trios match. It was good, I promise. It really was.
I didn't really watch the match. I was outside with my dogs.
Yeah.
I kept hearing my dogs going crazy outside, so I went out there. I was listening to the match.
He was listening to it, like the radio?
Yeah, it was connected to my Xbox. I was listening to it. I said, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah. JR, that's why you knew so much about being 6'1". JR he was very adamant about that. I do agree. I'm actually excited for Fina and Penelope. I kind of wish that I brought Penelope back in like an angle of something, but it's fine. Whatever.
Have you seen she's looking at Kip? There's something going on there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Not going down that route again.
Kip and Penelope is saying up. Hold the phone. All the rampages are live in October.
Oh, there's another thing. The work continues. On one of those weeks, AEW is on Tuesday.
Well, that seems very challenging for our Fed Dead schedule. I mean, that's difficult. Does Tony not think about these things when he's putting these together? I mean, that's very difficult. What are we going to do there? I mean, that's tough. I don't know. That'll be interesting. Rampage Live will be surely they're going to do good shows for them, right? Right? Maybe Duke will get back on Twitter.
The only thing I'm about the women's division is I'm actually gonna say something about it. Is what do they like? Does Athena just beat Jade and then you just move Jade up to the title?
You need to do it, bro. Listen, I'm not trying to be a hater. This is just me talking for me. There's a lot to be worth investing in Jade, but you gotta. You gotta now do, you gotta change the belt. We need to have some good matches for this belt, bro. I'm sorry, we just do. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys really want to go down this direction, but I feel like they have the people challenging for the titles in the wrong division. I feel like they put all the really good wrestlers, women's wrestlers in the TBS division.
Yeah.
And some of the better to okay women's wrestlers in the world championship picture. I'm just
I think the issue is there's a lot of issues. The Jade thing's challenging because I think it makes more sense for her to be the world champion, who's more of a character, and then you have the work rate book. So I think it would work if Jade wasn't champion. I know it sounds harsh. What I mean is you have all these good workers, but the champ is still someone who's 2 years into her career. It's not an insult. It's just the way it is, right? Nothing wrong with that. But I don't really know what we're gaining from the reign at this point. I guess is my concern. It feels to me like we're kind of going in circles. Like I'm watching these matches on TV, and it's like, do you guys feel like there's a great deal of interest in these matches? Like, I guess the ratings are good, so maybe I'm completely wrong. I could be. I've been wrong many times before, but I don't know, man.
I think the best women's wrestler in that division is Serena Deeb, and I know nobody cares that she's going to be world heavyweight champ, and I'm like, it's just so sad that she's not going to be champ when she literally has like the best matches in that division's history.
Good.
I said she had that awesome match with Riho, and that last year that she had that awesome match with Shida, and then she had Rose's best match. So it's just like it's just so sad that she's not going to get the title.
I understand she's not a great promo. I didn't agree with the way she was taken off TV after that title match. That match was really fucking good. You know, give her something, like give her a manager, whatever it may be. She's damn good, and she's kind of prolific. And how many times has she missed for them, right? I think it's been a shame. Chris, where would you like to see these belts kind of go in the coming months? It's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I saw in the chat the ones that have been like, yeah, like I think especially for the women's division, the Hooper should be the champs. Like straight up, I just think that's the way it should go. But I agree with Manny. Like Deeb was my number one in this division, and she still is. But man, they put like an anchor on her when they kept doing that same segment on Rampage for like a month of the whatever it was, like the beat the clock with the professor. I forgot that's what it was, right? Yeah. Man, like that slowed down her momentum because I was so excited for that match. I thought it was pretty good, but like there was barely any hype going into it, and that really bummed me out because I think that she is like the best in the division, and I do see the limitations. Like I get that. But I feel like that's when I was let it play out. Like you'll see the match quality that she's gonna have, and you'll see because I mean, like Manny laid it out the match catalog that she's had. Like that Sheeta series has been honestly like that's my favorite stuff they've done with the women's division since they started. So yeah, man, I love Deeb. I just think it's tough the position that they put themselves in, and that's kind of like the nature of the beast. Like with putting that TBS title on Jade, we knew that this is where it was gonna go. But they've gone in circles of we know she has a lot of potential to be the big star, and everyone said that. But like we have really gone in circles with the feuds, and it's time for something different. How we do it, I don't really know at this point, but I do think maybe putting it on Athena is the way to go here.
Yeah, I see everybody saying Riho and Deeb. Look, Riho had some of the best women's matches too, but I don't know what Riho's doing. She's not even wrestling in Japan anymore.
I would say I think Riho's the best worker, but you're right. It's hard to really see her as that. You know, she's not really active in the promotion.
Yeah, she's not even active in Japan anymore, so I don't really know what she's doing. I think because she's just always injured now. And then Sheeta, Sheeta's doing now her play show again. And on top of that, she's having – I don't really watch the Josie promotions that she's wrestling in, but supposedly the people that she does – the people that do watch those promotions are saying that she's having match of the year contenders and stuff like that with some of the wrestlers that she's wrestling. So it's just like, I bet she'd rather do her show and wrestle these matches in Japan and then come to AEW and have a match every so often. So it's just like, well, what do you even do when some of your best workers don't want to?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I mean, that's been a thing. I mean, objectively, they have lessened the presence of the Joshi talent on TV. And I think it's a mistake. I will always remember when Riho and Yuka wrestled on that Rampage and like inexplicably woke up that crowd. It was fucking incredible. So it's a weird deal. Tope, where do you stand on the women's title front?
I'm not as high on Deeb as you guys are. Like I definitely see that she's very solid in the ring. Although this goes back to the Jade as the TBS champ. I think that role is a lot better for Serena, where she can do either the open challenge or she can do a pre-tape promo and not have like Chris brought up that those live Rampage segments were definitely not it. To me personally, I think Sheeta's probably the best in the division. Like I liked her title reign the most. So if you're putting the belt on the best person, I would definitely say Shida. But I also feel like Thunder Rosa kind of had the vibe of the best consistent worker before she got that title, and now she's not seen that way. So I don't know if it's necessarily like Shida was the best in the division, but her title reign was also lacking. So
absolutely,
it definitely it's kind of cliche to say, but it starts with the booking, and you got to make us care more, basically.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And we could do this forever, right? Or we just pick holes in who the champion is. It's how they're used and what they're doing and who they're wrestling. Quite frankly, I mean, it's just I think the world of Nyla Rose. But as soon as she was Thunder Rosa's first opponent, you immediately told the audience this was stuff we'd seen before, and no one bought that Nyla was going to win because she hadn't been on TV. And it's hard.
And the way they did it too, like that, it was tough.
Yeah, that was terrible. That first thing was terrible, right? The one with Vicky and all that stuff. So it's hard. It's a strange one. I don't know. There's definitely other stuff with Rose that makes her like a really complex case right now. And I don't want to pile on, but it's been a weird time for Thunder Rose.
Did you see her quote on today?
I did not know.
It was something about how she has to be. Well, let me just look for the quote direct because I don't want to butcher it. But it was talking about it was about like her responsibilities as a champ.
Oh, is this going to be a burial, Manny? I never trust your instincts when it's
No.
You have bad intentions when it comes to Rosa, our women's world champion.
No,
okay. Well,
I actually feel bad for her. Let me see.
Okay. All right. While you find that, folks in the chat, as we kind of wind down, if you have any questions, okay, go ahead, Manny.
It says it's been really challenging because being a AEW champion on a major platform is different than when I was the NWA Women's Champion.
Hold up. Who asked for that? Who asked for that burial? The National Wrestling Alliance. Hang on a second. All right, carry on, Manny.
The Bullet Cast. There's a lot more at stake. There's a lot more that you're representing and a little bit of pressure. That's about it.
That was sincere. I thought there was going to be a burial at the end of that.
No, I just said that.
Do you think the pressure may be a factor? Is what you're saying? Yeah. Well, she's
probably why she's not performing.
Okay, that was nice. Good job, man. It is. Well, I don't know if you need to say that bluntly, but I think your intentions were good there. There you go, folks. That's character development. We call that on the Late Night Grin. I feared we were going when I heard. Did you see that quote? I was thinking, oh my god, what did she say?
Just wait till she has another match on Dynamite, and I just come on here and be like, I was right.
Dreading it, absolutely dreading it. All right, chat, folks. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll kind of wrap up by answering questions if you have them. The thing we're going to do at the end of this show is I'm going to say who challenged Claudio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it as the last in the show so you can get off the show if you do not want to know. To be clear, what I'm spoiling, I assume, is just like a talking segment on Rampage. But I want to give people a chance to react to it organically, including those you on the show. So feel free when we get to that point to just, leave if you would rather experience it, in the moment. But I will do that in case people are scrambling on the internet as we close here. Who is in this Stokely talent agency? Who ends up working for him? And where do you think this goes? So I think, they've probably got to stop adding at this point, right? With Ethan, Lee, and the Gun Club. That's kind of like, with the baddies, that's got to be Max, right? Like, who else can you... I mean, that's like 7 people all in. So I don't know if they're going to add any. I don't love the lineup. I like it. I don't love it. But
I think 25 is Stokely.
Wow. That's how high you are on the lineup, huh? Wow. Yeah, well, I mean, Gun Club's a little bit disappointing. I don't know. Tope, where are you at on the Stokely halfway business? Where do you think it's going? What do you think of it so far, so on and so forth?
I don't know if it's going to happen, but if I was booking, I'd definitely have him be this generation's Bobby Heenan. It's not a group. He just manages these clients, and like they interact every once in a while, but they aren't ringside for matches necessarily. Yeah. It's like Stoke is the only connector, but he's basically just doing it because his paycheck is bigger when his clients win. So
I agree. I like it a lot. I just think he needs to, if that's the route you're going, he probably needs to have like one guy that's higher up, right? I mean, I like Ethan and Lee a lot, but I don't know how often they're winning on TV necessarily. in the next year. So, like, you probably want to, so that he's not just out there watching guys get the shit kicked out of him. Like, Jade obviously is a big star. One on the male side would help too, I think. That's just my read now.
Like, the elite thing doesn't even make sense anymore because you would think that Stokely would get like a top wrestler, to be there so they can teach Moriarty. But who's he gonna learn from? Ethan Page? I mean, like, what is Ethan Page gonna teach Lee Moriarty? He's a loser too.
Hold up, shouting promos, bro. Cut to his game. This MJF business is interesting. That could be an interesting wrinkle. I think that could be interesting. Which match has a gimmick stip attached to All Out, and what is it besides Garcia custody? I think Christian and Jungle Boy has to have one, right? Let's go. I mean, at this point, they can't just have a wrestling match, can they? I don't know. It feels like after the angle tonight, you need to do that.
I think out of all of them, that's the one.
Yeah.
I think the All Out match is going to be the first match between them.
Yeah, but man, they're really deep in though, man. I don't know. I can't tonight. I'm not sure.
Wait, what am I correct about?
I don't know. Do you think Punk is going to join the Pinnacle? Sank's up with that Pinnacle business. That was too deliberate tonight. That line from Dax, I don't trust that fucker.
And then the way that Punk was acting earlier, I mean, I think we might get my 4-way team, man. That I've been saying.
What do you think, Tope? Anything up on the Pinnacle front? I think there may be something to be watching there. It feels like there's an angle ahead. I think.
I'm convinced that it's Punk. The problem with that is you can make FTR, because I feel like it has to be a heel group if you do that. And I don't know who's gonna boo Ward though necessarily. Like, I feel like FTR is easier to turn right now.
What if MJF's with Punk in this angle? Is that too nuts? Can we do that? Is that a thing we can do? Like, imagine an angle where, it's like Punk and Punk and Wardlow are trying to fight as babyface out against FTR and MJF, and fucking Punk turns on Wardlow, and then you have Conqueror and Wardlow going after both of these pieces of shit. It's hard to tell it, but Punk was his hero, right? I don't know, man. That's it.
We also got to talk about Punk being jacked.
We don't have to, but yeah, if you want to. Anything else on Punk being jacked, Manny?
No, that's it.
Okay. Chris, anything on the Pinnacle, MJF, all of that potential business?
I mean, nothing besides that. There is something up there, like the way that Cash kind of said it, and he looked around, like it was very much a wink and a nod that something's up there. I don't expect it, but I can see like an MJF thing going on there. It could be that like that's your, last week I was talking about like what's your excuse for MJF if you do bring him back, like the way he's booked. What's your excuse for him not going after the top title? Well, I guess it's that Punk is the top title and they're in the same stable. That's a thing you could do that eventually might lead to something. But I mean, it all depends on how they're going to book the title, I guess, from there on. I do think that there's something. If it's going to be a heel faction, like they're all baby faces right now. So it's got to be, and I hate to like do it, it's got to be like a big angle type of thing where there's something like, because who's going to, FTR, some of the hottest baby faces in the world right now. Like, who's going to boo? Well, they have to do something that's going to get the crowd to boo them, which I'm sure they're capable of it, but what is it?
Yeah, and like, is it going to be worth it? Because you're giving up the hottest babyface team. It's like, that's why I struggle with the MJF joining Punk thing. I'm not saying it makes sense, but the reason I pitched it was the way we're laying out the story, all of us, generally, we did it last Thursday too, is that the Pinnacle is a heel group and then MJF has to come back to like destroy the group he created. But it's like, you're giving up 4 baby faces so that MJF can be 1 baby face. Like, fuck, man. I mean, that's pretty bold booking-wise. I don't know if that's the answer.
Are we forgetting that Claudio and Yuta challenged FTR at the ROH titles?
Yeah, I did forget that. But you're a Ring of Honor stan now, Manny, so you would remember that, obviously. It's one of the only angles you got running over there, brother.
So it's like, so it matches up perfectly. Imagine we get that trios match.
It's good.
John Moxley and Punk, and then you have FTR, Claudio, and Yuta, and then Wardlow and Danielson. Imagine the power bombs that Wardlow's gonna hit on Danielson.
Oh,
His
God.
brain's gonna be mashed potatoes.
Brian would be like locking in on like what the world record for power bombs in one match. For like, let's top it, you know, some sort of fucking animal. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
He's gonna be like Ric Flair, like twitching, like just like that, trying to sell his head.
I'll be honest, I don't actually think they are strong enough baby faces to turn Punk. Bro, Punk and FTR are like over. Like, people love Moxley, they love Claudio, they love Danielson. There's a connection with Punk, especially, that's very special. I mean, again, he buried the top 3 baby faces tonight, other than himself, and they tried to see him Punk in response. Man, he's beloved. I don't know. Very, very hard. Very difficult challenge ahead. Fun though, as fans, I think we all look forward to seeing how it kind of pans out. Hopefully they do. I mean, it's a not, but hopefully the stuff that they do is like interesting after this conversation. Isn't just, you know, whatever. Anyway, here's what we're gonna do, guys. Are you gonna stick around for this Rampage spoiler, or would you guys rather keep it fresh? It's up to you.
I'll stay here.
I'll stay for it.
Okay, good team. Thanks, lads. All right, folks. If you'd like to watch Rampage fresh, again, I'm not spoiling a match. I'm just spoiling an angle that's setting up a match. But if you'd like, you know, to keep it fresh, feel free. Leave now. Do not blame me if you do not leave now. I'm saying again, leave now. Get out. Go. Have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow at some point for, oh, God, the Late Night Grin is tomorrow. It's Thursday. You know what that means. The Late Night Grin. I'll see you there, latenightgrin.com. Have a wonderful evening, but leave now. Do not get mad at me if you've not left and I spoil a minor Rampage angle for you. Because, lads, I have news. And with that in mind, there is only one graphic suitable to set up such a bit. Here we go. In professional wrestling, we often make lists. One of those lists is who is the finest professional wrestler to never be the world's heavyweight champion. Many say Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, you know. Many say Roddy Piper, Ted DiBiase. But men of true class, dignity, and pride stand up and they say, the natural, Dustin Rhodes. And they do this motion.
Pop.
Well,
Is Duke's in the chat?
I'm delighted to say it'll be a great gift for young Dukes, who's very poorly because I know he's a big fan. The most prestigious title of all, the Ring of Honor World's title, is currently in the target of one Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes, Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor World's title. Manny, you're a Ring of Honor stand now, brother, officially. It's happening, bro. Big time. The real World's title. What do you think, pal?
I'm ready to go. This is a punishment for Dustin Rhodes for spoiling the two pay-per-views.
You should have just beat the fuck out of him. I love that when you said you're ready to go, your voice like crumbled a little bit, like you're emotional. That ruled. I respect that. Tope, your response to the natural coming for the big one, brother.
Pro wrestling was back tonight, but it is even more back on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely true. Professional wrestling lives. Chris, any statement on the Ring of Honor World's title program that's ahead?
Right. So what you guys don't know probably is that Dukes and I have, I'm sure, booked this in the DMs this whole run, like last year. Right. I'm so excited. I didn't know about this. I tried not to look and find it. I wanted to, have the reaction here. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. That's awesome. Good for him. Like, this is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really in on Dustin as like a Ring of Honor guy. I think that's a really cool idea. Like him wrestling, just once on their TV tapings, I think would add so much to the brand. And it's like a weird vibe. You would never think he'd wrestle there, but it kind of works in a strange way, right? And he can bleed everywhere. God bless. All right.
Dustin might not get his NWA title run, but he'll get his TV title run.
That one's the one when it goes. That's different. When he goes in there with fucking Sam Joe and Joe's got like 4 different haircuts going on. And Dustin runs that fucking razor after about 4 minutes. Joe's all red and shit. Then you're talking about professional wrestling, And this is all well and good, but that's professional wrestling.
How many swings has Dustin taken in this match?
2.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know.
2 is a good call.
1.5.
I can't wait for the quarterly awesome Dustin Rhodes match, and then we all wait for his next match to come soon.
Yeah. Do you remember the one he did with when he wrestled Punk?
Danielson? Oh.
The Danielson one was great. But the one with Punk. Remember the promo he did before where he was like really emotional? Like, just fight me, CM Punk. Like this desperate old man to have great wrestling matches.
The craziest thing that I've ever seen in a wrestling show was them doing that Dustin and Archer match live, and them never doing anything again after that. Like, what was the whole point? I just wasted like 15 minutes of my life.
That was devastating. I still haven't recovered from that, to be honest with you. I thought we were going to get a whole angle, bunkhouse, the whole deal, but you get what you get, I suppose. This is true. Joe's right. Maybe they'll go full circle. Maybe that's how Archer's coming back. He'll lay out Dustin, brother.
Long-term
storytelling. There you go. Long-term storytelling. All right. I feel like we kind of talked over it. So before we actually go, any final word on the return of Kenneth Omega? Chris, I'll start with you. One of the great wrestlers back. He looked like he was having a hell of a time, even while working. It seemed like he was having a lot of fun. So what did you think? Because kind of final thoughts on Omega being back, Chris.
Right. So we all knew it was going to happen. But, man, like, it's same way the CM Punk thing, the return. And I want to say, like, when I was watching that, like, my heart was going. Because, like, I knew it was going to be him. I just wanted to see what it looked like. And it hasn't, like, I haven't had that feeling since Punk came back. Like, I kind of had it for Danielson because I knew, and that's, like, my favorite. But, man, like, this was a weird feeling that I had. And it delivered. Especially, I mean, like, I don't know. Say what you want about it, but like Justin Roberts, his react, he kind of looked up, like that popped me huge, where he was like, he knew he was gonna do the deal, right? So man, that was the North Carolina bit, pop, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Crowd's reaction was really cool. Like that's a real respect,
Right. Like, I don't know, they must have been paid actors or something because like the zoom in shots that they got of the fans, they picked 100%. They picked the right people to get at those moments because they were like shaking the bear, like they were ready to go. It's awesome.
Kenny has a unique relationship with the audience. There's a genuine like reverence and it's more than admiration. There's an adoration of him. There's a true like people adore and love that guy, and it's really really cool. I'm a fan of the man's work. I mean I think the world of him, but it's like how I would react to Joe or King, and that's and I mean that with. As a comment, when I see people reacting that way, my reaction to it isn't I don't get it. My reaction is that's fucking awesome because I admire him too. I think he's great. So it's very very cool. Manny, I know that you lost big tonight. A lot of money went down the drain. I know you was gambling pretty heavy on that main event of Dynamite, taking bets with JR under the table and stuff. But your just final thoughts on Kenny Omega being back. If you could just put aside your defeat for just a moment, Kenny being back is pretty cool, right?
He didn't cut it in Ring of Honor.
Respect. Hater to the end, bro. Respect. Big respect. Tope, I'm glad I didn't save Manny for last with that in mind. Tope, your closing thoughts on Kenny Omega.
I completely forgot how much I love his snap suplex and the V-trigger. Those are two of my absolute favorite moves in all of wrestling. Mm-hmm. Like the return was perfectly done. I agree. Having Roberts do it. Crowd popped huge on North Carolina. It was more of a storytelling. Like the match left stuff to be desired, but I mean, you can't just be buzzing after that return.
Right. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was like you definitely felt it and what it meant to the guys involved. The Young Bucks looked like they were having they were kind of in a shock state themselves because it was really happening. It was something surreal about it, right? It was really cool. It's been a long time. It was November. Like.
Another thing is Kenny was out there for blood. He was very unsafe out there, taking people's heads off, dropping people on their heads.
Pop. Big props. Big props. I agree.
Unsafe worker.
Where did you say he was on your all-time favorites list earlier? Like second?
Yeah.
Sold out, bro. You sold out. Look at you. Look what you did for the likes and the retweets, bro. This is what happens in this game. It's terrible. See what happens to the best of them. No, but seriously, a great deal. Kenny being back, this roster is slowly getting its heavy hitters back. Honestly, pretty quickly getting them back as of late. Very, very cool. Shout out to him. He seems like a lovely fella. I'm sure it was very frustrating for him to be out of the ring. I'm sure it was very painful for him to stay in the ring last year. Hopefully he's feeling good and he's going to have fun with this run. I think everyone is happy for him to take it at his pace. He looked pretty damn good tonight, if you ask me. And that's with the, if he wasn't feeling too good, he would not have taken that Dragon League dive. Like, I think he's pretty ready to go. So I'm excited to see how Kenny develops. I would like to just close with again, one of the best TV matches I've ever seen. 2 out of 3 falls. I want all of you to go and see the Fight TV feed and just come back to me and, to explain to me how right I am, because my fucking God, lads, I'm telling you, there's a moment where they trade strikes. I couldn't believe it while I was seeing it. It was art, high art. So Garcia and Danielson, a masterpiece. Punk Moxley stuff, electric. And then, of course, Kenny Omega, one of the great wrestlers of the generation, maybe of ever. I think it's a very fair argument. I wouldn't argue with anyone who says that back as well. So very eventful show, a great Dynamite. We hope you've enjoyed this little post-show deal here. I like this as a community thing, lads. I don't know if you've enjoyed this, but I think this is a nice deal. We can kind of just come on. Let's just, all we're going to do otherwise is fucking tweet about it, right? Just sit here and have some fun and talk about it. Manny, what was that? That was a puzzling response there. What's happened? Is it something you can say, or is it something you have to?
Oh, Tony Khan just said that we'll make history the next AEW Dynamite.
Oh my God, they're going to do Samoa and Dustin Rhodes.
He says next week, Wednesday night, August 24th in Cleveland, Ohio, Johnny will make history on AEW Dynamite, and then he just lists the matches for next week. Oh, look, CM Punk's going to wrestle Johnny Gargano at All Out.
Interesting. Very interesting. You're always up to saying, young man. He's very difficult, There's very wide range of intentions when Manny's on the air. It's very difficult to read. There's this new Ring of Honor bit has a lot of potential, because you can kind of be spiteful about your favorite promotion, which I respect. So, all right, Manny, I'll stick with you. Any plugs, promotions before we wrap up here, pal?
You can follow me on Twitter. At Manantonio. Oh, wait, is that my... No,
that's not it. No. Yeah, it's not that.
Every show.
And Manny Boy 3298.
Oh, good job, Manny.
I was getting my burner.
There you go. Well, too late now. It's out there, brother. You said it. Chris, any plugs, any promotions?
Yeah, I guess just check out. I'm doing news at Wrestle Purist whenever Monty sends me stuff to write about, I guess. A lot of talented people over there dropping features. So go check that out, I guess. And follow me on Twitter, My Wrestling Burner. Can't remember if it's WR or just the R, but I mean, figure it out, I guess.
Just the R, I think. Just the R.
All right. Just the R then.
Wrestle Purists is run by a piece of shit, but he's got many of my friends there, 2 of which are on the screen. Kenny Omega not being one of them, the other 2 fellas here. So go support them. Just please stress when you support or retweet their content that you do not endorse Monty, because, my God, Kenny Omega has left the building. Tope, any plugs, any promotions?
Do not follow me on Twitter, but do email Twitter support about at Mike Morello 12's Twitter account. Somehow I responded with the next Kanye lyric and the 4 pictures, and no one reported my tweet, which was such pop. So I'm in the clear. But yeah, hashtag Free Dukes on Twitter, and just get his account back.
Manantonio isn't a strip joint; it's just a play on from San Antonio.
You sure? You absolutely certain of that?
Yeah.
That's really quick PSA for the Grinners. In the Discord, they're trying to plan a fantasy football league. So if you guys are interested, I guess go check that out.
My God, fantasy football! What is going on over there? Someone get some control of that thing.
Oh yeah. Anyway. Then on Monday, Manchester United versus Liverpool.
What the fuck? I do want to actually, this is a serious sentiment now. Last night, you may have seen Bobby had a very sincere message. He said, leave people alone, I think was his main quote. I do want to say, young Dukes, we make a lot of jokes. The poor fella, he's 11 years old. All he wants to do is tweet out a couple of wrestling takes. There's no reason to report him, right? Seriously. I know it's fun games. I know I told everyone to do it, but that's it. Stop doing it. It's not fair, Just my take. Tope, what you going to say? I'm sorry.
That wasn't a reason to report him.
True. There's other reasons, but imagine the tweets he could be sending about Dustin Rhodes right now. He taken it for didn't fucking swerve, man. He tweeted a joke about Rampage being bad now, and they got him. Fucking police got him.
Kanye lyric.
Yeah. It was like the deal. I want the old Kanye back. That deal. It was one of those with like the old Rampage, and people they kicked the shit out of him, dude. I mean, it was honestly kind of embarrassing. I actually DM'd a few people and just said, like, report him so I don't have to see this on my timeline anymore. I regret it now. I didn't think it would work.
I guess he wasn't a fan of the Trust Busters. Ratings draws.
Yeah, that joke was funny for a couple minutes, wasn't it? Fucking next thing you know, every tweet on the time, oh, ratings. I was like, oh well, there you go.
If you didn't know, I'm best friends now with Parker Bordeaux.
Oof.
I don't think that's even how you say his name, which makes it even funnier. Because I used to say it like that, and then like I saw a clip of him on AEW, and like the R goes after the D, so it's like Bordeaux. Yeah, interesting. Right. Not really, not interesting at all. Actually, just his name.
He liked my Vader video.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate. I feel like you should be punished severely for that. I'll be talking to Monty about it. All right. So this is, I don't know how Twitch navigations work. What I'm going to try and do is alert via Patreon when I'm about to go live. After shows like this, I'll probably not have time to do so. Just assume that we'll be on shortly. It's about the best I can do. But if it's more random, I'm going to try and put on Patreon because I'm told the Twitch notifications are really dumb. I don't know. It's a weird deal. Apparently, they're very inconsistent. So I'm going to try and put it on Patreon. So then you know 5 minutes, whatever. Is there anyone's raid chat before we go? Because we've got like 40 people here. So is anyone's raid before we depart? Again, Chris Hero, is he on?
No, I don't know.
That piece of shit. Don't reply to my DMs. As we said, WrestlePurist.com. Apparently, there is fantasy football talk in the Discord. Gulak again.
We don't support
I like this. Well, hold on. Talk for yourself there, pal. This is a Bob O'Neill platform.
I don't support the Fed.
You don't. That's fine. You've made that very clear, but Bob is...
Especially Catch Point.
Famous WWE at Catch Point. Remind me what Drew's thing is. Does anyone know? What the fuck is he called? Someone in the chat put what his name is. I've forgotten it. I don't know. I typed Drew Gulak. I didn't get me anywhere, so I kind of packed in at that point. So it is just Drew Gulak.
It looks like I haven't got Gulak.
I haven't got him being suggested.
Are you blocked?
I might be, bro. Honestly, he has not been suggested. Unfortunately, he just went offline. Is anyone else online? Before we lose all of our viewers, is anyone else online? If not, we'll just leave. That's fine too. But...
Yes, Kirby. There's a Grin Discord.
There is, yeah. I'm not in it, nor is Tope Suicide, but there's a Discord. You know, I don't know who runs it. I think it's dudes.
Wait, you're not in the Discord?
Fuck no, I got that thing.
Absolutely not.
I felt because I was like, I didn't feel like I could regularly talk about wrestling in there because I felt like I was being a dick. Like I feel like I'm authoritarian, you know. Like if I disagree with something, it feels like kind of mean. And then it's just
confirmed shooting, or it's confirmed shoot. And
I mean, shoot's in there, but not really. And Bob, I don't think Bob's particularly over in the Discord.
That's funny.
Shoot makes cameos every once in a while.
Yeah,
it's funny. There's a late night Grin Discord, and none of the people that host the shows are in the Discord.
Is that not perfectly on brand? Really? Stephen Larson. Let's do that. Let's do Stephen Larson. I don't know those fellas, but that's probably for the better. They got hundreds of people. Jesus wept. God bless.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Confirm shoot. There's a lot of notifications when you have Discord.
Yeah, you get what you get, I suppose. Right, we're going to send you over there, folks. Put on Twitch. Go and enjoy the Stephen Larson. I assume they're talking about Dynamite. It'd be weird if there wasn't, honestly. Go and enjoy that. Have a good evening. All hail, so on and so forth. All right. For those of you watching on the YouTube VOD gimmick, WrestlePurist.com. You know Manny's Twitter. It's not the Man Antonio one. You know Chris's. You know Tope. So you know the deal. Free Dukes, so on and so forth. Enjoy this outro. All hail.
We'll come back strong.
What did you say?
Stronger.
Who's we? They ain't even a trio anymore, brother. Anyway, we're out here. Outro.